Welcome back to Movies Recap. Please like the video and interact with it to support the channel to continue to provide this content. Thank you so much. The beginning of the film opens with the sound of police sirens raging and the man being chased accelerating his vehicle. He accelerates rapidly, but when he bumps against a piece of metal, his tire screeches. A helicopter approaches in front of him shortly after, so he instantly makes a quick turn. He unfortunately bumps into a metal ladder, breaking his front glass. As the police approach him and a massive track breaches the road, a ton of air horns and sirens are now blaring. The man takes a dangerous turn, and a flash with the word earlier appeared as a flashback. A man is on the phone with his wife when the white light flashes. The man is late, the woman keeps saying. The husband claims there are delays with the plane, customs, and other tasks he must complete before arriving. The girl accepts when he promises he would arrive in 20 minutes. The man hangs up and now is sitting in his recently hired car. He contacts the automobile rental facility after noticing something is off, and a salesperson answers and informs him that the manager is not present but that he can come and wait for a while. Even though the clerk keeps urging him to visit the office, he declines the opportunity to switch vehicles because he is late for his wife. No matter how strange he may be feeling, he immediately starts the car. He joins the freeway with a perplexed expression since he is unsure of the location of the road sign. He continues to drive by the road with furrowed brows when all of a sudden a loud honk pierces his ears. He immediately runs into a van, so he makes a right turn. His wife texted him as he was driving to not drive on the right. He abruptly runs into a bike while driving on the expressway. He apologizes and goes on his route, telling himself to avoid any difficulty. He calls his wife while still in traffic while driving. He claims that he is late because of a traffic jam and problems at a rental firm. His wife advises him to arrive on time because he is aware of the level of security in the region. She then sobs as her husband informs him that they want to start a new chapter after waiting for him for 18 months. Mad and furious, the man hangs up the phone. He looks in the shotgun compartment after hearing an unexpected ringing sound that is not coming from his phone. On a BlackBerry phone, he notices a text message that reads, "Make sure, keep it tidy." He starts to lose his focus, and now air horns are beeping at him because the traffic congestion is over. While he is driving, a child gently taps on his side window. When he can no longer resist, he opens the window, and the girl hands him a charger. The man steals his glasses because his other side window is also open. He then becomes irate. To relax, he drinks a Twinkle and cracks open a juice. He reaches for his Twinkie as it falls to find a pistol. He violently places it on the shotgun seat in a panic. As soon as he stopped, a call from a BlackBerry phone rang. As he is about to take it up, it stops and starts to ring once more. The caller claims that he needs to acknowledge receiving the message, but he is perplexed and asks what is going on. When the person behind him in line asks him where he got the phone, the man begins to explain the compartment and the rental car company's error. But before he can finish, the man hangs up. Then, after becoming enraged, he yells, "Why is there a pistol in his car?" He quickly exits the vehicle after placing the rifle and phone in the base with frustration. He returns to his position after the phone rings while he is still walking to answer it. The man in line claims to be a detective and Michael, the man, is an innocent person. The man in line then says he's not playing the foolish game and he'll leave the gun and the phone so he's out. The detective adds that one of their officers was meant to pick up the automobile he is in, according to the detective. "That's fantastic news," he says, feeling relieved and at peace. The detective hangs up after telling him they have another automobile waiting for him and will provide him the address. After the call is over, Michael receives a text message with the place he needs to travel to in order to get his automobile. He prepares to leave and collect his car, but he is unable to locate the specific street mentioned in the text. He phones the operators, but they are unable to help him because they are lacking information. He asks out of his window where Smut Street is, but the woman replies in plain Zulu, so he just keeps driving. Thoughts of asking for directions are in his head, but it looks as though the people he passes are cruel and dangerous. His tire gets trapped in a hole as he prepares to turn around. He keeps turning the engine over, but he can't move. He phones his wife, who responds that he will be 30 minutes late. Michael makes the decision to ask Angie, her wife, if she loves him. If she truly loves him, he demands that she give him the location of Smut Street without hesitation. He also says that she won't speak to him again if he doesn't show up in 20 minutes. In a hurry, Angie responds and directs him in the appropriate path. When the call ends, he is prepared to move in the indicated direction. He restarts the engine, but he is stuck. His tires continue to spin, the trunk shakes from a powerful force, and a woman who is bound and unconscious climbs onto the backseat. The kidnapped woman is awakened when Michael opens the window in the backseat. He does the same thing after the woman requests that he free her from her bind. Sadly, the woman tries to flee, and a fight breaks out over the pistol. She wants to know who he is since she wouldn't want to be abandoned by just any person, but Michael has already instructed her to stop talking. A short while later, they are back on the road, and the woman is still fixated on the male. The rifle gently drops to the ground as the automobile trembles. She is pointing the gun at Michael and instructs him to turn the car around. He immediately accelerates as quickly as he can till he hits the brake. The woman then turns around and drops the gun, but it whistles gently and leaves him with bullet damage. After regaining his composure, Michael points a revolver at the girl and declares, "Enough," fearfully accepting. The woman then opens the back door window and tries to flee in the middle of the road a few seconds later. She is dragged by Michael, who warns her not to move. He is told in a perplexing way by the woman that he has no idea what he is doing. He answers a call on his BlackBerry and the investigator enters, announcing that he is running late. He apologizes for not being able to locate the location, but the man behind him in line informs him that he just got out of jail, was traveling illegally, and that his wife is at the embassy. If he doesn't arrive at the address in 5 minutes, they will come and get him. The woman informs him that she needs to clarify the matter while they are traveling. She introduces herself as Rachel Shabangu and states that the National Prosecuting Authority is her employer. She recently learned details about a strong man named Ben Rose from several reports of international sex trafficking. Going home, opening her front door, and waking up in a minivan with him are the last things she can recall. She believes she has been abducted to stop the dissemination of the aforementioned facts. Rachel begs him to save her, but Michael instructs her to just give the cops the information. She claims, however, that Ben Rose, the police chief, and his team want her dead. She informs him that he is now involved, and Michael restrains her speech as a result. When a gunshot is pointed in his direction as they enter the warehouse, Rachel tells him to leave. She then commands him to hand her the weapon before shooting people behind them. She then states that there are people who can aid after Michael drives quickly and the automobiles chasing them catch fire. When they arrive downtown, the first man turns her down. The other requests that she leave him alone after claiming that they threatened his son. Michael hears the man and suspects that his wife might be the target. Angie, his wife, cannot be reached when he calls. He is eager to visit the embassy and leaves a voicemail. Because the adversary is traveling in that direction, Rachel cautions her not to go there. She picks up the phone and dials Angie's department, but the operator informs her that Angie has already left. They quickly enter the embassy because they see men pursuing her outside. The military surrounding returns right away and saves Angie. Rachel, however, receives a chest hit as the men fire shots at them. They instantly enter the parking garage below ground. They try to push her wound in a place where no one can see them. The blood flow won't stop no matter how hard they try to force their way through the wound. There is too much blood, according to Rachel, thus she won't be able to survive. Michael, on the other hand, is unable to accept and keeps pinning her chest. She instructs him to retrieve his phone and press the record button once she has given him a few breaths. She starts talking right away, giving her identity and the time and place of her shooting. She continues by saying that she discovered a sex trafficking operation with a trail that led back to the police chief. She claims that when she learns that other senior cops are also implicated, he rushed straight to the judge, but she ends up confined to a car. She then calls Michael Woods as a witness to wrap up her testimony. She deteriorates after recording the testimony, but Michael claims he doesn't want to take on the problem. The only person they can trust is Judge Mzuka, so Rachel advises bringing the video to the courthouse and asking for him there. Michael becomes frustrated when Rachel explains that the burden of proof now falls on him. He places the corpse in a parking lot and then gets out of his sleep. Every time Michael tries to call his wife, a message box is left. As he is helplessly gazing off into the distance, a man suddenly begs him for his wallet while brandishing a knife. The robber rushes out the door as Michael clumsily points the gun at him. The BlackBerry phone rings after a little while, and he answers it right away. How much information has Rachel given him regarding the matter? Queries Detective Smith. While Michael has no knowledge of the country, the detective also threatens him with access to the police. He instructs him to switch on the radio, where he will hear a report that Michael Woods is wanted for allegedly murdering Rachel Shabangu. The investigator advises him to avoid getting in the way at all costs. He claims that the detective and his father laugh similarly and are likely both cruel bastards. He threatens to kill him, but all he does is retort with a strong swear word. Then he throws the phone outside and drenches it with liquid. Now that he's committed to getting justice, he drives back and tries to call an operator, asking for the judge's phone number. He sees himself listed as a wanted person in the middle of the road. 2 police cars suddenly approach him from the front. In a panic, he runs to a car wash. He calls her wife and starts to feel depressed as the car is being washed. He keeps chatting after the call goes to voicemail, remembering their one night together when it was raining and they had already formed a bond. Yes, they were having a great time and couldn't stop laughing. He assures her that the allegations that he killed Rachel are untrue and that he will clean his name in retaliation for her. The voicemail concludes with him telling her how much he loves her. He stops at the spray paint business after the car wash and requests to have the color of his car changed. Despite the man's skepticism, Michael hands him his watch and claims it is all he has. Later, the boss decides to assist him in painting his car a different shade. He then asks the man for directions to the courthouse after the color changing is finished. His phone rings as he's driving and it's the judge. Recognizing the message, he advises him not to go to the courts because there are more police officers there. Michael answers differently, adding that he promised her and must now provide his testimony before the judge. Eventually, a traffic officer requests his license after spotting him conversing on the phone while operating a vehicle. The men from the shop suddenly throw a spray can at the police car since he is unable to provide the license. He exits and makes a second phone to the judge, who informs him that it is too risky for him to go to the courthouse and requests his location. His phone dies just as he's ready to say anything. He chooses to approach the judge right away, like in the very first scene of the movie. He drives as quickly as he can while being pursued by cops. As the phone is charging and the sirens are lost, he phones the judge before being struck by a police car. He drives through a store because he has nowhere to go. He continues to drive despite the police shooting at him. He soon finds himself surrounded by police vehicles and aircraft. With his hands on his head, the speaker motions for the listener to exit the vehicle. He makes the decision to change course, though, and heads to the courthouse. As the reporter opens the back door, the man grabs him and pulls a revolver at him before ordering the lieutenant to get the judge. When Detective Smith arrives, he begs the courthouse lieutenant not to intervene, but he is unable to do so because Michael is holding a hostage. After a few yells, he notices that the hostage's microphone is on, so he takes the phone, but the detective then starts shooting at him. While bleeding, he plays the testimony recording on the microphone. According to the news, Michael is now being treated at the hospital with Angie in an effort to recover and has been hailed by the president as a heroic defender of justice. The minivan that Michael used, Vehicle 19, is being polished by the auto rental employee while the news on the radio reports that the officers have been arrested.